Hi, my name's Jay Pagliacci. I'm one of the partners at Sonova Dental Studios in Watford, along with David Bloom. We've been using a laser in our practice now for well over 7 years. We first got into lasers as a result of doing a lot of cosmetic work with veneers. And the great thing about the laser is that you can really fine tune the gingival margins. Those gingival zeniths and emergence profiles make all the difference with a laser. It's so much more predictable as well with the end result you get compared to, say, a scalpel where you can get a lot of scarring, a lot of tissue tear, and a lot of blood as well. Or an electrosurge where even though you're burning the tissues, you can still get some rebound as a result of using that. With a laser, what you see is what you get.
In this case, 1 watt was used in continuous wave mode with an initiated tip. The tip is moved rapidly as to minimize the damage to the surrounding tissues. Controlling bleeding and circular fluids is key to a properly placed composite restoration. Applying the laser to this procedure can save time, reduce frustration and stress. This is immediately post-op, and here is 1 week follow-up.
Hi, I'm Mervyn Drone, co-partner of the London Centre for Cosmetic Dentistry, together with my partner Ken Spector, and we're a very cosmetic or aesthetic sort of centered practice. This laser system absolutely fits into the profile of our practice. It has helped take us to another level. For ease of use, it absolutely takes seconds. It's like writing on the tooth with a pencil. As far as healing and pain afterwards, it's absolutely minimal. It really has no side effects. It's great. You can use it for aphthous ulcers as well. Just give them a little zap.
My name is James Gilmick, Vice President of the British Academy of Cosmetic Dentists. I've had the Quick Laze for 4.5 years now. I have to say it's one of the best bits of equipment I've ever bought. The main thing about it is it's small, it's portable. We have 6 surgeries here and it's actually great that we can move from surgery to surgery really easily, and it's been dropped a few times, so it's sitting in one piece. As Paddy hasn't had to fix it yet, which is good. The thing I use it for virtually everything. One of my associates borrowed it for a day at another practice, and I felt sort of a bit naked without it, because whenever we're doing any preps, tiny bit of bleeding, just sap it really quick. Retraction cord, we still use, but not as much. We don't use electrosurge at all anymore after using the laser. Use it for ulcers, it's really good. We've had some receptions with ulcers, and you actually don't need to touch the ulcer. You can do it without local anaesthetic. You can just waft it around, and it seems to kill the bugs, and it's much, much better. So it's great for that sort of thing. But the main thing really is, every time we're doing any preps, any aesthetic work, any way of just trimming the gums, you don't get any recession afterwards. It's much more comfortable, no swelling. Patients really love it, and it's really high tech. They like the goggles going on and everything else, and so I would say it's a good bit of investment. I can't see any modern practice working without some sort of laser.
The great thing with a laser is that it actually handles like a handpiece, and it only works when you actually touch the tissue. It only gets rid of soft tissue. It doesn't affect hard tissue, so there's no ancillary damage to surrounding structures. Even if you're not doing cosmetic work, it's still really great for even your routine restorative dentistry, whether it's troughing out sulcuses to give yourself some really accurate impressions, or those cases where you have a patient coming in, they've got a cavity, the gingiva is overgrown in that cavity. How easy is it to use a laser?
Single tooth crown preparation is probably one of the most frequently performed procedures by general dentists. We use the laser in this application as opposed to retraction cord. Adequate exposure of the margins is critical to accurate impressions. The laser coagulates the bleeding and removes unwanted granulation tissue. We find that troughing with the laser is much faster than using retraction cord, and the hemostatic properties are a significant bonus. Margin exposure has never been easier, and this leads to clear, concise impressions every time. The operculectomy technique allows for easy removal of redundant soft tissue distal to posterior molars. The chronic reoccurrence of pericoronitis, significant periodontal probing depths, or pseudopockets can easily be managed with this procedure. Remove the bulk of the tissue with the laser set on 1.4 watts in a continuous mode of operation with an initiated fiber. Doing so establishes hemostasis, and you are then able to create ideal tissue architecture.
It was so straightforward, no blood again. Patients are very, very impressed as well because it's obviously very high tech. And you say you actually get the laser out, I think, oh wow, yeah, this must be a practice which is forward thinking and moving forward with the times.
As far as crown lengthening and tissue contouring and removal of polyps and those sort of things, absolutely superb. And incidentally, we also recently did a frenectomy. The patient had a very, very short frenum, and we just took the laser and just cut into it a few times and had a fantastic result.
Hello, I'm Edward Velashevsky. I've been using the laser for a couple of years now, and I find it very good indeed, very good indeed. Just having the laser in the building has raised patients' awareness of what we do, and people are quite excited. Oh, you've got a laser, what do you do with it? Does it work? Is it going to be any good for me? Can I have a go? And it's been very interesting to talk to people about the lasers and explain what we can do, what we can't do, and it's generated more revenue for other procedures.
My name's Payman Langrudi. I'm practicing in the City of London. I got my diode laser from DMDS recently, but I have bought several other pieces of equipment from them, and what I like about what they do is that the equipment's honestly priced, and it works. I mean, I bought my camera 10 years ago, still works, still going well.
You know, another feature of this, in fact, two features. One is that the laser has its own inbuilt battery, so if you want to disconnect it from the power mains and use it in another surgery, or just go down to the hygienist surgery and just do a little bit of tissue contouring, it is really easy. And the other thing is, you don't have the cables all over the place, and that's why now I can actually keep this in the surgery, because with the other lasers we had to roll them up really carefully, or have them dangling and they'd get caught in the drawers and break. This has got an incredible system. I think they call it like a caddy, where you just wind it in, and I'll just show you. Fantastic. And just as much as you need, and you put it back, you just wind it up. So for us it's been brilliant.
My name's Ashley Watson. I am the principal dentist at the Smile Centre in Canterbury. I learned to be a laser dentist in 2001, and I would say my life hasn't been the same since, and it's for the better. I think they are the ideal cutting instrument for soft tissues. When I qualified as a laser dentist in Arizona in 2001, I travelled out to America to visit dentists in Newark and New York, and I also travelled out to see dentists in Düsseldorf in Germany. And they used all sorts of different types of lasers and different ways, and I decided how I was going to use mine. And I decided very early on that it was very much for specific conditions, for things like soft tissue surgery. The diode laser is, in my opinion, the laser that a dentist is going to want to use. In the past, lasers were very expensive. They've come down tremendously in price, and you'd be silly not to buy one. If you haven't used a laser before, if you haven't seen a laser being used before, then you really ought to find a dentist that's got one. If you're interested in improving the profile of your practice, then lasers are ideal. It's a marketing instrument as well as a clinical instrument. So if you're looking at doing soft tissue surgery, gingival troughing, frenectomies occasionally, you know, the aesthetic stuff around veneers, that's the sort of thing you really want to use it for. If you're used to using an electrosurgery unit, you'll be used to using a laser after a couple of weeks. It's something you'll get used to very quickly. The research has shown that healing from lasers is so much quicker than electrosurgery, and there's less scarring than if you're using a scalpel. The laser, I don't think you want to get too overly complicated about it. I think it's a very simple piece of equipment. It's a very simple box nowadays. You don't have to buy something that's an enormous, great thing on wheels. And that's the beauty of it now. So I think it's a fantastic thing that they do. The healing, when you cut with a laser, and it's, providing you're doing it properly, you get this beautiful sticky edge to all the tissues that you touch. So you can actually, you get a bloodless build, it's very clear, it's very easy to use, but actually the healing is so much quicker.
The main reason for getting the diode was for gingival contouring. I looked at several other lasers on the market, but what I found is what you want from a laser is simplicity, something that isn't going to break down the minute you get it because it's too complicated. And so it has the presets on there which are very useful. All in all, a really nice piece of kit.
I think we find that We use it for things which we couldn't do before so successfully, such as frenectomies. The fact that you get such a bloodless result and a quick healing has been extremely satisfying to the patients. They love to be able to come in, have the treatment and go home. We used it for frenectomies, we used it for gingivectomies, we used it for operculectomies. I've used the laser for curettaging out deep pockets, and that's been successful for many people. We've used it also for troughing around the margins prior to the crown preps or at the impression stage to get a more bloodless field. And the bit I like most about it is the actual putting it over a bleeding socket and getting good coagulation after an extraction. That's the most beautiful thing to see when the blood just stops bleeding. I found also that the service was very good from DMDS. I had a few teething problems to start with the cable. That was sorted out very speedily, and any updates and upgrades are done very promptly. They sent me a lot of information to pass on to patients, sort of brochures and leaflets, which has stimulated a lot of interest and excitement among the patients. So I think DMDS has been a very good company to work with. DMDS being the manufacturer, there's no middleman, so actually you laser out the middleman in effect, and you're just dealing direct with DMDS, and so the costs are less than they're going through an intermediary.
In my theory, it's a great thing, and the quick laser has been great for us. I've had the quick laser 4.5 years. The only thing I've ever done was actually, as you use it, the cable gets shorter and shorter because you're having to splice it, and obviously I bought a new one, so I've had 2 cables since then, but I've actually had nothing go wrong. We have dropped it 5 or 6 times. But apart from a few dents, it's fine, so I actually haven't had it serviced.
This is a wonderful opportunity for me to thank the company that sold me this quick white laser unit. It is one of the best pieces of equipment I've ever bought, and if I sound like I'm a marketing salesperson, it's because it is really brilliant. I've been using lasers ever since they were introduced to the UK in dentistry. And for doing cosmetic dentistry, it's brilliant because you want to do a little bit of tissue contouring, some gingival removal, crown lengthening. The laser's been fantastic. Having used electrosurge before, which was often a little bit messy, you didn't know if you were going to get more shrinkage, so you'd have to bring the patient back a couple of days later. With the laser, you can do it at the same visit that you prep. The margins don't change, certainly not in my experience. It's been fantastic. So first we had a laser that was certainly 3 or 4 times the size, very cumbersome, and I would think twice before I used it because it was a whole performance. This one is absolutely fantastic. It's just like picking up a handpiece.
The reason I bought it was for cosmetics, but I'm using it much more than I thought. The endodontists use it, the periodontist uses it, the oral surgeon uses it. I went through the online training session and got new skills and new uses for the equipment that I didn't realise that I was going to have.
I cannot thank DMDS enough for introducing me to this laser. If anybody needs any information on how to use it, they're always very welcome to contact me. But I would never dream of doing any veneer cases without picking up the laser first. It's fantastic, great asset. To conclude, I just want to talk a little bit about the price, because one has to bear in mind that these things are very expensive, and I know my first laser that I bought was something like 16 or 18,000 pounds, and okay, I used it for a few years and I made sure I used, but it was so bulky that was just a nuisance. But these, I think this cost me about under 4,000 pounds, and it's made a huge difference because the initial cost made it difficult for a lot of dentists to buy, or they'd rather buy it and have one surgery share it. Here, you got it for like £3,000. You can use it in every surgery. It's fantastic. I mean, it's now just a little bit more than an intraoral camera, and that one should have one in every surgery anyway. So I think this is fantastic, and certainly there's certain things that make your life easier, and this is one of them.
My relationship with DMDS is that I have no financial commitment with DMDS, but they have over the years supplied me with many things, from intraoral cameras to air abrasion units, and they've always been incredibly useful. They're an established company, and you can always phone up a human on the other end of the phone and get support from them straight away.
The other important thing is kind of future-proofing the product. The nice thing that they have is the free upgrade. So when the new thing comes along, we can just switch over and just pay the difference and not have to buy a whole new laser at that point. The backup's good. Buying direct from the manufacturer always gives you peace of mind, because there's lots of dealers that'll sell you the thing and then not support it correctly. My experience with DMDS has always been that they've got trained engineers and always happy to help. The aftercare is really a big part of it, as dentists know.